So good morning and welcome to this really interesting speech on the No Fear and Stop the Bleed initiative. I am Rachele Brancaleoni and today I'm going to represent Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore in the framework of the No Fear project. Just 2 words about the No Fear project. It brings together a pan-European and beyond network of practitioners, suppliers, academia, researchers, policymakers in the field of emergency medicine. The objective is to overcome the fragmentation and improve the response of the emergency medical systems to new threats. So here are our partners. So we are very, very different each other and from very different countries from Europe and abroad. So why I'm presenting today the Stop the Bleed initiative, why it's so important for us as No Fear project. A quick win is a relevant and affordable solution that can be quickly used and integrated in the operational procedures. And so we recognized Stop the Bleed as a quick win. Why? Because it's an educational campaign promoted by American College of Surgeons that teaches civilians how to manage a major bleeding victim. So as UCSC and together with the SICUT, the Società Italiana della Chirurgia d'Urgenza e del Trauma, No Fear, we adapted this STB course to the Italian context. Today I'm going to show you a brief overview of the course, and I'm not going to give you the whole course because it takes up to 3 hours and it requires something practical to be done that it's impossible since the scenario today. So why we choose the Stop the Bleed initiative? As you see from the Italian journals, we have very different news of people that died because of bleeding. So the number one, the first cause of preventable death after injury is bleeding. So this is why it's so important for us. The goals of this program, the Stop the Bleed, is identification of the life-threatening bleeding and doing something to prevent the bleeding, so stop the bleeding. Summary of what we should do. First of all, we should assure our personal safety. Then we should alert 112 in Italy and in most European countries, otherwise you will have another number, but you should be aware of it. The bleeding, so recognize where is the bleeding and then compress. And then clearly you should wait for the help to arrive since you called the 112. Why I'm talking about personal safety? Because your safety is your first priority. If you are injured, you cannot help the others, but you should help the others only when it's safe to do so. So please only remember that if the situation is or becomes unsafe, you should move to a safer place. And if you can, bring take the victim with you. So what means personal safety? You should wear also gloves if you have it. And if you get blood on you, please sure to clear any part of your body that has came in contact with blood, and tell the healthcare providers that will come that you got blood on you. So we have the A, B, C, alert, 112, bleeding, and compress. So it's very easy to remember since A, B, C is the first 3 letters of the alphabet. So alert, 112. So you should call, should know your location, where you're located. So the street, the number, some places around you, the shops, and follow a structure provided by 112 operator. So here I would like to remind you that never stop the call before the operator say it to you or stop the call by himself. So bleeding, we said A, now we pass on B, So you should find source for bleeding. You should look for a continuous bleeding, a large volume bleeding, and a pooling of blood just under the victim. The clothing also may hide life-threatening bleeding, so you should open the clothes just to have a look if everything is okay just behind them. So the bleeding, it can be on arms and legs, neck, armpits, and groin, you see here in green, and on the body, so on this part. Why I'm dividing in these 3 sectors? Because the arms and leg, we can treat them with tourniquets, while neck, armpits, and groins, we can treat them with pressure or other treatments, while on the body we cannot do anything. So we should wait for the arrival and reassure the victim. What isn't a life-threatening bleeding? Just to be sure, blood from nose, a paper cut, or an injury while you are walking, normally are not a life-threatening bleeding. They will stop by themselves. You should take some treatments. You can look for a doctor, but these are not a life-threatening bleedings. And then we are right to see compress. So we say that we can pressure, packing, or apply a tourniquet. So how to apply pressure? We should apply pressure direct pressure to wound. And we should focus on the location of the bleeding that is just behind the wound, just under the wound. Use enough gauze or cloth to cover the injury. If you don't have gauze, because normally we don't have clothes in our bags, you can also use a piece of your shirt, but that not really sterile, but at least clean. So if pressure stops the bleeding, keep pressure on the wound until help arrives. Never just have a look on the gauze or the cloth, what is going on there. Never. What is packing? Packing is used for larger wounds when superficial pressure is not effective. So if bleeding is from a deep wound, pack the gauze tightly into the wound. You see, you should put the gauze inside, not like this. This is pressure. This is packing. And you should hold the pressure until the help arrives, for the same reason as for the pressure. So you can see here how it means, what it means packing. So you should go deeper in the wound. And then we have the tourniquet. Here, 2 types of tourniquet. So it's pretty easy to apply a tourniquet, but you should know how to do it. So you should apply it 2 to 3 inches above wound. So it means about 5 centimeters above the wound in the direction of the hurt. So do not place over the elbow or the knee. This because you should place just above it, because the tourniquet won't compress the area in the appropriate way. Tighten tourniquet until bleeding stops. So it means that you should tighten and tighten and tighten. Don't be afraid of doing this. And do not remove the tourniquet for any reason. Don't think about the possibility that the person is going to lose the arm or the leg. Don't do it. The help will arrive and they know how to manage it. So don't remove the tourniquet. The tourniquet can be applied to others or on yourself. It can be applied over clothes. Just look at the pockets. If there are any in the area, they should be empty. Apply tourniquet, it hurts on the victim. It hurts a lot, so be prepared. Don't be scared about the possibility that the victim will scream or would be. You will appear very hurted by the tourniquet, but you're doing it right if it hurts. And the second tourniquet may be required to stop the bleeding. So be sure that if the bleeding is stopped, is okay. If you have a second tourniquet and the bleeding doesn't stop, you should place the second tourniquet above the first one. So I'm really happy for your attention. And I would like to remind you that the only thing more tragic than a death is a death that could have been prevented. So I know that today is very hard to talk about something different from COVID, but COVID is not our first is our first problem now, but it will be not the first problem in the next years. So now is the Q&A time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it now. Otherwise, I would like to remind you that Stop the Bleed courses are normally given by the Red Cross or other association, volunteer association. So feel free to contact them and to ask if they are providing any Stop the Bleed courses. They should be free. For free, and well, it give you the entire they will give you the entire course that has again a practical some practical activities. So you will learn by your hands how to apply tourniquet or how to stop the bleeding, applying pressure or packaging. So we have a question about COVID and Stop the Bleed. Well, I know that there are many talking around the possibility that COVID will, the impact of COVID on BLS. I know it, and it's really important because when you're practicing BLS, you are mouth to mouth with the person. So for the Stop the Bleed, I would say it won't be so dramatic, but clearly you should be safe, your own before helping the others. So assure that you are safe before, and then follow the guidelines also provided by your instructors during the course. So I would like again to thank for your attention, and remember the 3 golden rules that are now ongoing for the COVID situation. So always wear a mask that cover your face and your nose, your mouth and your nose. Wash your hands very frequently and maintain the distance from the others. So thanks a lot. I will stay here for a bit, so feel free to ask me questions.